We're here at the HD Expo, New York City. What we have on display is our full line of 3-chip HDV camcorders. We're going to start here with, this is one of the two newest ones. We came out with the XL-H1 several years ago. This is now the replacement for the XL-H1 with several improvements. This is the XL-H1A, and over here we have the XL-H1S. There's only one difference between the two of them, and that is that the XL-H1S has HD SDI, Genlock, and timecode in-out connections. You may remember a few years ago we came out with the XH-A1, which is this camcorder, that also had a sibling, if you will, camcorder, which was the XH-G1. That's over at the far end of our booth. And the difference between them was the exact same thing. They're the same camcorder, only the XH-G1 has the HD SDI, Genlock, and timecode connections. Anyway, back to the XL-H1A and the XL-H1S, are new replacements for the XL-H1. Some of the differences that we have here is, for one thing, the lens is probably the biggest, most notable difference. It can still take the same 6x wide-angle lens that was an accessory for the original H1, but it comes with a different 20x lens. It's still the same optical power. It's still optically image stabilized. Still has optical image stabilization. One thing that it has that the previous model did not have on this stock lens is it has an iris ring. So you're no longer using this small select wheel alone to control the iris. You can if you're more comfortable with it. We also changed the size of the rings on the lens, and we changed the amount of the resistance that those rings will provide. You can actually tweak that via the menu to your personal custom liking, but the size of this lens ring now for focus is wider and easier for most camera people to find and to adjust. Some of the other settings that we've changed, we now have only 2 channels of audio, whereas the previous model had 4. And one of the reasons that we did that was because the previous camera that did have 4, most people weren't shooting 4. And when they did shoot 4 channels of audio, they didn't have the easiest time getting it into a lot of NLE systems. They had to do a second pass, which was discouraging a lot of people from using it. So we took the time and the effort to go with 2, but allow for more adjustments and better control over the audio. You can now actually control what's coming into your XLR inputs by dampening it or boosting it if it's either not loud enough or too loud, to allow you a more comfortable adjustment with the manual dial controls. Also, something that you couldn't do previously was use the microphone that comes with it, with the mini input in the front on one channel, and then put the XLRs on an independent channel. You had to either go all XLR or all front input. Now we've allowed you the ability to control whether you're coming in the front or whether you're just going into the back. Some other adjustments that we have, we're well known for our custom presets, which are present also on the XH series. They allow you sort of very similar to what a paint box would do in your higher end motion picture type cinema HD cameras. Not exactly the same, but very, very powerful nonetheless. The spectrum of adjustment on a lot of those settings has been increased all the way up to +50 and -50 in the menu for the custom presets on the new XL series. Previously they were only in the low teens on this, and then as low as 9 on the original XL-H1, if memory serves correctly. We also, this is now a very interesting feature, particularly good for people that are shooting weddings. We've changed the gain so that instead of just going from -3, 0, 3, 6, 12, and then 18, you can actually go all the way up to 36. Now, people that are going to use it for weddings probably aren't going to go up to 36 because the gain is going to create so much of a noise factor, which is just part of what gain does. But when you put it up to that setting where you are capable of then going up to 36, you can now use the dial that used to be for selecting your iris only and increase everything in increments of 0.5. So if you don't need 3 dB of gain, why have the noise of 3 dB of gain? You can just go up to 1.5 if that's all you need, or 7.5 or 6.5 or whatever it is that you actually need, and you can increase it slightly while you're shooting. So instead of jumping up on the gain, you can just do it a little bit on the fly and get exactly what you need. Going now to the XH series, pretty much it has all of the same features that you would find on the other ones. It just doesn't as robust. It isn't shoulder mounted. It doesn't have a detachable lens system. It does, however, have a wide angle adapter, the HDW72, which is a 0.8x adapter, which brings its widest point from 32.5 millimeters to 26 millimeters. One of the biggest differences that there is between these two series is a lot of the things that you can adjust on this camera through the menu are more readily available on the outside. Other than that, I guess all that's left to say is the price points. The list prices for these are for the XH-A1, $59.99, and for the that's the XL-H1A, that's $59.99. The XL-H1S is $89.99. The XH-A1 lists for $39.99, but you can find it much lower on the street because it's been out for a little while. And then the XH-G1 lists at $69.99.